Well, let's get more reaction to what's going on. Joining us is Andrew Leung, formerly Hong Kong's official chief representative to the United Kingdom and now an international consultant. Hello there. Thank you very much indeed for your time today. Let's start with that point that Tom Cheshire made. October the 1st. Beijing are not going to want to see scenes like this, are they, on October the 1st?
Well, obviously, that's what the protesters are targeting. In fact, it goes into the heart of their anger and dissatisfaction. Of course, the angers are twofold. Firstly, about the relative hopelessness for the younger generation. They feel that it's very difficult to get on the housing ladder, difficult to get start up a family, but they're also seeing that the one country, two system seems to be tilting towards the one country, and that they feel that their Hong Kong identity has been eroded over the years with massive number of Chinese tourists and then buying up property, changing the kind of lifestyle, and they feel the government is not listening to them. So this anger and dissatisfaction has been ignited by this bill. But if you look at what they're asking for now, the so-called 5 demands, the first demand has been met, but then the idea of setting up an independent commission doesn't seem to be right at the moment, because any evidence tender at the commission would exempt anyone from prosecution. So if we do it now, that would be a haven for the rioters. And then, of course, the situation cannot be contained. And then also there are other demands are not very realistic. For example, the amnesty for all those arrested, and then dropping the charge of riots for all kind of crimes or offences committed, simply is not realistic in the light of the escalating kind of violence. Now, the most important demand, though, is universal suffrage. But don't forget, a package for universal suffrage was introduced and rejected at the previous umbrella movement, because what the protesters want now is a free and unfettered universal suffrage to enable them to choose the chief executive. But then that's under the basic law, there are safeguards for the one country, and ensuring that no chief executive can be elected who can turn out to push Hong Kong towards separatism or self-determination. So there are certain safeguards.
Sorry to interrupt. Are the protesters
right
to believe that nobody's listening? That's one of their key concerns.
Yeah, they're absolutely right, and or the government is not listening enough. For example, what started it off with this mass protest is the administration's sort of stone deaf to their demands, until over a million people marched to the streets before the government even agreed to suspend the controversial bill, which of course raises the fear of the removal of the firewall between the jurisdiction for these two places, both sides of the border. But then if you look at the situation, anyone watching international media would think that Hong Kong has descended into a police state. But on the other hand, the Fraser Institution of Canada only recently, less than a week ago, confirms that Hong Kong still retains the top slot as the world's freest economy. Now, you can't be the world's freest economy if your society is not free. So I think that all the hype about Hong Kong descending into a police state, about authoritarianism, is a bit overhyped. But I think that there is a genuine kind of dissatisfaction amongst the young people, that they don't see the future as being hopeful, the difficulty of getting the housing ladder, and they feel that somehow the economy or the society is stacked against them. So I think that this translates into kind of dissatisfaction and anger, plus the fact that most of these young people don't identify themselves as Chinese. They regard themselves as Hong Kongers, and they hate the People's Republic of China, hence the stamping on the national flag and so on. But then one has to ask whether their demands would this kind of action, vandalism and lawlessness, would achieve what they want, more freedom and democracy, if they do not build trust, or rather cause even further animosity between Hong Kong and Beijing.